I've actually moved my weapon system, the 105, to where I want to be. And I'm shelling today from Bertrix to Herbermont. And you'll see that's the distance here in the upper right in the mini map there. That's where I'm at right now. That's my distance and target. So anyway, we're in the driver position, so to speak, which is the pusher, which allows this thing to have some mobility. And you'll notice in your upper left-hand corner under it says vehicle. It'll give your azimuth and your pitch and your roll. When you deploy your weapon, it is absolutely critical that your pitch and your roll be at zeros. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and deploy. The weapon's already deployed here, so I'm going to adjust. The roll is left and right. Oh, here we go. And I'm going to bring this to 0. So the roll is a 0. And now my pitch, which is a little bit, it's a negative pitch, so I need to pull back a little bit. And we're at 0, 0. Okay, so that's just part of that here. So, okay. So now, I'm in the gunning position here, and I'm going to look at here as my, what I call the gun HUD. And it goes in the lines from top to bottom. Vehicle, which is the actual chassis orientation of 201.6 degrees, and a 0, 0 pitch and roll. Next line is gun barrel, and that means the azimuth that you're pointing to at 201.6 or 3,583 mils, your angle of elevation, and also in degrees and mils, and your estimated range. Now that's that's as soon as you set it up, that's what it's going to be. I have not adjusted this yet. And your last is your active target, and that's B1. I've set a target onto the town of Herbermont, Bravo 1, giving the azimuth of degrees and mils and a distance of 4,372 meters. Okay, I do have a forward observer in Herbermont. Let me go ahead and look at my map real quickly here, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit and scroll down to the southwest. Now I'm moving to where, and then my forward observer has placed a mark. Now what we're doing here, this is not a target mark for an enemy. This is for determining the elevation, which is absolutely critical. What we're trying to determine is what is the elevation difference between where we're firing from and to where we're firing to. And whatever that distance is, that will then become a factor, a number factor, which we will adjust either up or down to our calculated range. Okay, so before I get ahead of myself here, we've got this. I'm going to make this active. So when I'm going to make this active, so what it'll do is it'll automatically then, as you'll see in the upper left hand corner, that active mark, which has gone from here, is now displayed here in the upper left hand corner under active target. It gives it the number of 02275, and it gives you the appropriate azimuth in mils and then the distance. Okay, so in order for you to be able to do repetitive firing, it is highly recommended is that you orient your weapon, the vehicle, to mirror this azimuth. So we're going to go back to the position here and undeploy the weapon. And I'm now going to move it to, what was mine? Let's see, it was, we wanted to be at 199.6. You'll see here my numbers are changing here, 199.6. Okay, so I've done that. Okay, I'm redeploying the weapon. Now I'm going to go repeat the roll and pitch and roll to make sure it's zeros again. So I am at zeros on the roll, and my pitch is negative, so I'm going to pull back a little bit. So now we're at 199.6. I move to the gunner position here, and it mirrors at 199.6. So now I am going to, if I wasn't going to factor in elevation here, I would simply just dial it in to the range so that my second line, the gun barrel line, would then match my active target. So I'm going to depress my, I do everything through my joystick here and keyboard. Okay, so we have a mark from the forward observer in Herbermont. And he has marked that right there. and that's carrying. Even though I'm marked at, I'm at almost 3,500 meters. It's shown up as 44. So there's a huge difference in elevation here, which is really a good. It's a good point. That's more than I would have thought. But anyway, we had that preliminary forward observer information there. It's approximately 900 meters difference. And so we actually did try to take that a little more. We felt we were not quite accurate there. So we, instead of it being a minus 900 meter elevation, we went ahead and changed it to minus 1,000 elevation difference. And once we got that, then it was really evident that we were pretty much spot on. We were able to get that determination, and interesting enough is that once we look at all the data and looking at the gun barrel elevation and the marked range that was indicated by the forward observer, it was roughly almost 11. It was actually officially 1,081 meters. So if you just rounded that up to 1,100, so all of your adjusted range markers on that same elevation within that town would be minus 1,100 meters, and that's your elevation difference between where you're firing from to where you're firing to. And then once you have that elevation determined, then it's a matter of moving your left and your right and how many mils left and right, and that's where those tables that are published that are so critical based upon the ranges. And so then I'll show you hopefully here a little bit later how accurate that you can be once you get your elevation dialed in there. It's very, very accurate. There is some dispersion, yes, but that dispersion is probably approximately about 30 meters, maybe 40. But the key thing is getting that elevation. Once you get your elevation correct and that factored in, then the weapon becomes extremely accurate.